Hi, and welcome to the end of another week, and welcome to another Contemplative Friday. Before we begin, though, I want to have your attention focused on this figure here. And this figure shows what we've been learning about in class, which is the formation of hybrid orbitals. So in this Contemplative Friday, we're going to be visualizing the formation of the tetrahedral sp3 hybridized orbitals. And pay particular attention here to begin with the s orbital and the three different p orbitals, the px, the py, and the pz orbitals. And we're going to be squishing these together. We're going to be morphing these together in our minds to form four individual sp3 hybridized orbitals. So if we have this shape in mind before we start the Contemplative Friday exercise, that's going to be valuable. And then ultimately, if we join all four of them at a common point, we get the tetrahedral shape. So with that, we'll begin in our normal way for Contemplative Friday, which is simply finding ourselves in a nice straight sitting position, feet flat on the ground, and if you want to, you could sit directly on the ground with your legs crossed, or even lay down if you'd like. Any position that you find to be comfortable. And if you're comfortable doing so, you can at this point close your eyes, relax your shoulders and your neck, forehead. Just let tension drip away. And we'll begin with the long, slow, deep breath in, and a long, slow, deep breath out. And another long, slow, deep breath in to the count of 4 or 5. And a long, slow, deep breath out to the count of 4 or 5. And another long, slow, deep breath in to 4 or 5. And a long, slow exhale out to 4 or 5. One more long, slow, deep breath in. A long, slow, deep breath out. And now at this point, we'll just let our breathing return to normal. Just let our bodies breathe for us. We don't need to control it. Our body will do it automatically. And we'll bring our attention, we'll focus our attention on where we feel that breath. Perhaps at the base of the nose as the air comes in and out. Many people experience it in their bellies as their bellies expand and contract with the rise and fall of the breath. But just focus on where you feel the breath. If your mind wanders, begins to worry about what's in the future or something in the past, just bring your attention back to the present moment back to where you feel your breath. And now we'll bring to mind an S orbital, just a spherical orbital. So picture a spherical shape, a ball of some sort, three-dimensional. Rotate it, move it around in your mind. And now we'll also introduce, separate in space, a px orbital. So a dumbbell-shaped orbital running horizontally in our mind. Two lobes, kind of like balloons. And now we'll also imagine a PZ orbital running vertically, straight up and down in our minds. Again, two lobes, separate from the orbitals, other orbitals for now. And then lastly, the PY orbital, maybe running from our nose to the back of our skull. Again, two lobes at right angles to the other p orbitals. So now we have those four orbitals kind of swimming around in our vision. And now let them start coming together and morphing into a sp3 orbital. We saw what that looks like. It's basically a great big balloon with a tiny little balloon tied to it on the opposite side. So essentially one big lobe and just a tiny one on the other side. So as we begin to overlap the spherical S with the three-dimensional PX and PY and PZ balloons, if we could animate this like in Disney, we would morph these somehow. We would just show them blending in with one another and distorting and reshaping those balloons so that we get this one big balloon tied to a tiny little balloon on the other side. And we'd get four of those out of it. So maybe imagine the S orbital right in the center, and then the other p orbitals around it, and then the s orbital kind of deflates, and the other orbitals react to that deflation and put all of that energy, all of the electron density into these new sp3 orbitals. And we'd have four of them, four new sp3s. So try to create a way for yourself to understand or picture or visualize how a single S and the energy and the shape that it represents can join together with three individual p orbitals. And since we're taking four orbitals and combining them, we get 4 new orbitals, 4 new sp3 hybridized orbitals that all look the same. So even though the s and the p orbitals look different, after the hybridization, we've created 4 equivalent sp3 hybrid orbitals, equivalent in shape, equivalent in energy, equivalent in their ability to each accommodate 2 electrons. And then lastly, imagine the tetrahedral shape that they would form. Picture 4 balloons tied together. 3 balloons would be kind of arched up above the surface. You could set them on a desk and you'd have 3 balloons touching the surface of the desk just at their tips. Where they're tied together would be up off the table by several inches. And then you'd have a balloon tied up to the top, going straight up vertically from all that. So the 4 sp3 orbitals would be extending toward the corners of the tetrahedral geometry. So replay that morphing that you did in your mind. Solidify that idea of the s combining with the 3 individual p orbitals to create the new orbitals. Play that back. And just as we've done this for a single s orbital and 3 p orbitals, you could do the same thing for the other hybridization schemes. An s hybridizing with just a single p orbital, an s hybridizing with 2 p orbitals. We've seen sp3ds and sp3d2s. Take the time to imagine that same morphing process of how these orbitals can mix and blend to create new shapes, new energies. And we'll take a long, slow, deep breath in to the count of 4 or 5. Long, slow exhale out to the count of 4 or 5. Another long, slow, deep breath in. Long, slow exhale out. Expel all the air from your belly. We'll close with just another moment or two to be quiet, to be present, to focus on our breathing, or perhaps focus on your hands. Try to feel what your hands are feeling right at this moment. by bringing our attention to our breath or to our hands. We can always pause. We can always stop worrying about the future or the past and be present in the moment. Focus on where we are, what's immediately in front of us. Oftentimes, how great what is present around us is. The people, the learning, the resources, the warmth inside, the food we might have in front of us. Be grateful for those things. So we'll just take one more moment here of quiet. And when you're comfortable doing so, you can begin to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, relax your shoulders again, release any tension that might have built up. Gradually open your eyes. And I hope you have an enjoyable weekend. I hope you get a lot done. I hope you get a lot of rest. Continue to work hard, and have a great day. Thank you.